tell the guys, we're thin but mighty. Anybody that's ever asked about our program over the last few years, I've been saying the same thing. And
Princeton's always been a tough football team. One thing about us is we're going to play tough. We love to hit. Hitting is like preached, and it's like the gospel in Princeton.
I don't want to have all these rules and all these things that you got to try and memorize. Just the word all in. All in.
Football is one of the greatest sports in the world.
It was certainly emotional, no doubt about it. It always is between us and Ocean City.
I don't like losing. The kids don't like losing. And I don't want to lose to the same team over and over and over again. We want to win a state championship.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cal One-on-One right here on Cape Atlantic Live, presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service. I'm your host, Nick Kosko. As we roll on with our winter sports previews, we're going over to basketball today, and I have Mainland head coach Dan Feld with me on the program. Coach, good to talk to you again. And, I know you're entering your second season this time around with the Mustangs. Things are looking promising. Young group of freshmen, obviously some seniors coming back. Just tell me a little bit about the team so far through the offseason and the preseason as we gear up here for the season opener in just a week plus.
Nick, I really appreciate you having me on. We're really excited. We're, basically working on second full week here. And, like you said, starting last year is my first year. This year has been, I wouldn't say smoother. There's always some bumps along the way. But definitely feel like as a program, we're kind of like in a little bit of a more stable place. So much transition from last year, from the previous year. We feel really good. It's been an exciting couple of weeks to start the season. The guys are working really, really hard, right? Our phrase has been accountability. Looking to the guy next to you. Are you running as hard as you possibly can in this sprint? Is the guy next to you running as hard as you can? And the guys have done a really good job of buying into that so far. So, yeah, really exciting starts to the season.
You mentioned that transition last year, and obviously, taking over for a coach, that had a lot of success, and Mainland was coming off just a tremendous run. I think we talked about it last year when it came to the parallels between the football program and the basketball program, where it was just like win, win, win. We're talking about sectional titles and trying to compete for state titles, and a bit of a rebuilding year for you guys last year. But you mentioned the smoothness of perhaps this past summer and this fall leading into this season. What necessarily was different this time around? Was it just that you had more of a handle on things as the head coach? The staff was more supportive. What was different this time around compared to year one?
The single biggest difference, today, as I can remember, I think we talked literally a year ago to this day. And when I think back to how I prepared for last season, all the way back to the summer, my thought was constantly on, what are we going to run? I got to put this in. We got to get this in. we got to be able to run this defense and everything like that. And I quickly kind of discovered, as I got into the season, not that had been a complete waste of time, but we got to lay the foundation first. So my focus all the way back to the summer and really every day today, even to the practice today, is just play hard. Just play hard. That's all we're worried about at this point. I know for a fact we don't have as many offenses put in at this point, different teams. At the high school level in particular, so many of the keys to being successful are covering up maybe deficiencies you have in size and in talent, things like that. It's just playing hard. So that's just it. Every drill, every live session that we're doing is go as hard as you possibly can. That's been our main focus. I've been really, really lucky in that I feel like I have so many people that have kind of helped, offered advice. And one of the main things I took away this offseason was from Scott Bittner over at Stockton. He talked about big rocks, and you got your cup. And he's like, you got your big rocks, little rocks. You got to put your big rocks in first, because the things you really, really care about. Because if you're putting all this other stuff that you're trying to do that you really don't care as much about, the big rocks won't fit, and then you don't get to them. So that has stayed with me. And it really is this idea of just, can you be one of these guys to just work so much harder than everybody else? That's what we want. I get the Eagles right now, but should have Mainland across my chest. That's what we want people to say is, oh my God, I just playing Mainland is a pain. Those kids never stop. They never stop. That's what I felt like we've always been about. And I probably did a bad job last year of making sure we stayed center on that idea. And that's really been our focus this year.
Is it one of those things, and I don't want to dumb it down to something as simple as this. I'll use a wrestling metaphor. One of my coaches when I was really early in high school always said, you master 2 moves on the feet, 2 moves on top, 2 moves on bottom, and from there you can win a lot of matches. It's something similar to basketball where I'm not gonna say you guys want to master 2 offensive and 2 defensive plays, but it's like maybe it breaks down to that type of hustle and effort on every single play where you don't have to run a complicated offense. It could be a very basic offense at first, and it kind of evolves from there. Is that kind of the trajectory that you want you guys to have early on in the season so you guys can develop further along the line?
Totally. Like so many, when you go back and look, you put in all these offenses, things like that. So many plays, especially at the high school level, the buckets are scored off of just like broken plays, a transition, a tip ball that then a guy, dove on the ground for and flipped to somebody else. It's those are the things we can control. Can you control? We've talked about getting out in transition. Your first 3 steps, go so hard. Those first 3 steps, immediately beat the guy down the court. It's all those things. It's us, like we keep saying, like it's got to be a fist fight for every rebound. Turn this into a street fight a little bit, because we think we can really compete that way, and that type of effort. We say when we want teams to notice us and to be like, wow, that team plays with an intensity. And really that's what we keep looking for this year.
As far as the guys that are back this year, some key seniors for you guys. John Franchini, of course, had a tremendous football career as the 4-year starting quarterback. Luke Kerrigan, Colt Russo also coming off the gridiron as well. They're your some of your seniors this year. They're going to play some big roles. I know you already alluded to Dallas Rowell, who's a junior this year, is going to be one of your top players, maybe even your top scorer this year. However, he breaks down here in 25-26. When you have veterans like this, especially coming off a tough year last year, where I guess a lot of those guys experience like, hey, this is some down basketball compared to what we're used to the previous years. But I guess they know what to expect now, and they take, I guess, bigger roles this year to, I guess, kind of more collectively come together this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest advantages we're going to have this year's team over last year's team, and myself included, is just quite literally experience. The last year, Johnny Franchini was really the only guy who'd gotten on the court, and he was really the 7th or 8th guy in a team that had played 6.5 guys really the year before. So he played a little, but no consistent. And there is no, even in the classroom, I said this, there's no educator-like experience. You got to go do it. So just that fact, start with Colt Russo. Colt's a really tough kid, had a great football career. He's our leader. He's our team captain. Just one of the best things about him, he's just incredibly reliable. We know what we can count on for. Johnny's going to handle the ball a lot for us. He played a ton of minutes. Tough kid. Luke Kerrigan has been one of our more dynamic guys offensively, has been really, really good. And honestly, Dallas, and all the guys know this, I think he has the most God-given talent of certainly any kid in our team. I think he has the possibility of being one of the best players in the league. He's a kid I really believe, if he wanted to, can play basketball after high school. He can be special. He really is special. He's still developing into that role, but he's a kid that we're really, really excited about.
When you look at a guy like Dallas, and you mentioned that God-given ability, sometimes the game comes naturally to them because of that talent. What's his development like? What did you see out of him previously compared to maybe this year? Maybe some things he has to work on. What is he best at when he hones in that could make him such a special player, especially for you in the immediacy?
Well, I can't imagine any guy has worked harder than him in this offseason. He's consistently at the gym at 5:30 in the morning all offseason. He's desperate to be great at basketball, which we love about him, right? We really do. He's developed his game in so many ways. He's always been an athlete. He's really developed an outside shot. He's developed a handle. He's a guy who can really play almost everywhere on the court. Just like a lot of young guys that are still figuring it out, his whole battle is just with consistency. It's the idea of kind of what I alluded to earlier. Like, can you play hard all the time? Can you be focused all the time? Which isn't the easiest thing for a young guy. It's something that has to be learned. And I really do believe that's something that he's working on and improving every day. But he knows, he sees that. And honestly, the guys on our team are supportive of him that way, and encouraging him every day to be like that. So it's been great so far.
before we got on the air, they mentioned this freshman class this year, where really talented. You're excited about their immediacy and obviously their future. You already alluded to Nick Kosko, who probably could see some good court time this season. I guess start with him, and then with the other freshmen. How does this program develop into? I guess maybe there's more depth this year. As you mentioned, the lack of experience last year. You have more experience this year, but there's still room for maybe guys like Nick to step in right away and give you some quality minutes.
Yeah, before I get to the freshmen, I really like some of our other guys that I think are going to be in the mix. Some of our junior class of Ben Steinberg, who played a little bit varsity letter last year as a guard. Braden Sinclair has just dealt with a ton of injuries, but is really, really tough kid. And then two kids we really think are going to help us is Sean Burke, who I just kind of like really looked at the other day. I'm like, man, Sean's really more the size of Colt Russo all of a sudden, but plays as a guard. He's a really, really tough kid that's still that we're really excited about. And then a kid, Cole Stefano, who he's another junior, had an awesome soccer season. And Cole Stefano is kind of a perfect encapsulation of what we're looking for. He will be the first to admit he is not the most talented basketball player. He's very good, but he just plays so hard. I haven't seen all of his goals in soccer, but I just imagine a lot of them are him just running through a bunch of guys because it's just how he plays. And he plays basketball the same way. There's just this toughness to him. So we're really excited about those older guys too. And almost every one of them at times got on the varsity court last year, even in a reduced role. So it's just that like comfort level that they have. The young guys, though, I am really excited about because what I'm excited about is they really are excited about basketball. And what I'm hoping is to like bring a lot of that back. I say all the time, I'm jealous of the football team, right? The football guys, a lot of guys come to Mainland for football, and understandably so. That program has been dominant. One of the best, Coach Smith has created one of the best public program, really not public or parochial in South Jersey. And so we love that, right? And they've been so supportive of us. These guys, the Nick Kosko is a young kid from Linwood, but a good sized kid, probably 6'2", 6'3" already, plays really, really hard. Nick Gockler is a point guard. His brother AJ is dealing with an injury right now, but certainly factors in. Both of those Gockler brothers are going to factor in for us long term. Crew Russo, who's Colt's younger brother, we think could be the next big time scorer at Mainland. And even a kid, Andre Vormans, who's moved. All these guys have moved up. Andre's looks to be a big kid. And again, they just kind of have that, like, they just look like they belong from day one. Whether they're going to be able to jump on the varsity court really this year remains to be seen, but they're not afraid in any way. And it's kind of like that mindset that we want, that these guys really have brought. So it's good. They've like infused some energy and honestly some competition, breathing down the backs of these older guys, which is good, right? And we say all the time, let's get after each other every day so that like tomorrow when we go play Cedar Creek in a scrimmage, it's like, now we're ready to go, knock somebody else out after getting after each other for so long. So it's really good that way.
Yeah, I love hearing that. So your season opener, I have written down 12 is on the 16th at home against Oakcrest. So when you have, and you just mentioned you're playing a scrimmage against Cedar Creek tomorrow on a Tuesday. When you look at this preseason now, and I'm not sure if it's the same along the lines of wrestling at this point, but where their season's pretty much moved up. It's like Thanksgiving is like, we're going to start the season right at Thanksgiving or the preseason, and then they're wrestling about 2+ weeks later. Is it similar with basketball these days? And second, if it is that short, how do you deal with such a short preseason these days?
Oh, it's the blink of an eye, right?
Yeah.
I say football gets these guys, they start in June as a lead up. They get 2.5 months. We get 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's hard. You gotta, and it's why also, like, allude back to what I said before. It's why you can't worry about, I got to get a million things put in. Like, if all we have ready to go by next Tuesday is that we know we're going to have 5 guys on the court that play crazy hard and intense, that's a win for us, how we feel. Because we'll keep working. We hope that the team that looks like what we're running in February looks different than what we did on December 16th. But what we hope is, as of December 16th, like, that's the one thing we can do, that we can be ready to have is that type of intensity and really get after. And we're going to make a million mistakes, right? We know that, but it's about taking care of what you can control, right? Has been our big motto early on.
You mentioned your other motto too, which was accountability. I'm curious to hear what you've seen so far from whether it be the seniors, your junior class, or even the young guys when it comes to accountability. Is it something as simple as like, hey, like, let's just make sure we're running 100% on these suicides at the end of the practice. Or if we're going to put up 20 shots, like you might not make even 15, but put one through, or don't stop shooting till you actually put one through. Well, what's the accountability look like for you guys on and off the court so far?
Yeah, perfect thing. The example of that is like when we run our 16s, 12s, 8s, and 4s, right? It's both one of the tougher things we ask them to do, 16 in a minute, kind of started to reduce that down a little bit. Right. And there were certainly guys not, at tryouts, maybe even the first day after tryouts, that a 16 was tough. And guys, like I wouldn't say got on each other, but because it was like, no, we're going to make it as a team. And they, encouraging, demanding, from certain guys, Colt Russo did an awesome job on the first practice. He ran directly next to one of the other guys who was struggling a little bit. It's that like leadership, but it's also the idea of, we say accountability. It's like, don't even look at the clock. Like, forget the minute. You can do it in 55 seconds. Do it. Like Dallas is a guy that can don't cruise through the end. Go as hard as you can. Push, get up to the front. So now Johnny's chasing you down, and you're looking at the guy next to you and you're getting on him. Like that's really what it's looked like. And I even walking out of practice today, I felt like, man, we really, even in a week, we've come pretty far with that in terms of what the bar has been set a little bit higher with those expectations.
As far as being a player-led team, I don't know if you guys are at that level yet. Maybe you are, but when I hear coaches talk about a lot of time, the best teams, even at the high school level, are player-led teams. Do you feel like you have guys in place that could do that at a certain point this season?
I do. If you ask me to pick out our leaders, Johnny Franchini's just the leader by nature. He's the quarterback of the football team. He's going to do it. I think in basketball, he's a little more lead by example guy. But Colt Russo does a fantastic job for us of setting a good example that way. And then truthfully, Dallas is another guy as a junior. He's not officially a captain, but the guys look up to him. The guys follow his lead that way. And they will follow him as hard as he runs, as him diving on the floor for a loose ball. They absolutely, he does that. Would I say that we're at that point yet? No, we're not, as still a younger team's developing, but even the best teams that we've had, it takes a long time, I don't know that the Cohen Cook, Jamie Tyson teams, even the beginning of their senior year, Timmy Trav, those guys, you would say, were they player led? I think they got to that point. I really do by the end, but it takes some time. It takes, there's nothing to substitute for experience that way. They got to feel it. They got to do it a little bit.
Without a doubt. I'll leave you here with this one. Again, appreciate your time this evening. You kind of alluded to it before already, with the accountability. You want to be that team that's in your face, and you want teams to come out of it and be like, oh my God, like we just played Mainland, or they're coming on the schedule like, oh my God, we have to go to, or we have to go to Mainland, or Mainland's coming to us. What is that the overall type of message you want to send day in and day out from your team to the community and obviously to the rest of the league as this season progresses?
Yeah, we want people in the Mainland community to be proud of us as a program. You may say, well, does that just mean your win-loss record? There's so many things you can't control. I can't control a lot of times how well we shoot it in a game, or the other vice versa. The other team's trying to win too. Yep. How well they shoot it. What we can control is our effort level every game. I really believe this. I really think we have the talent, some of the more experience. If we play hard, that stuff will take care of itself. It's not just coach speak. I really believe that. And I also will feel good no matter what, as long as we do that every game. Our record is going to be what it is. But if we play as hard as we can, then we can say we're proud of ourselves that way. And I've been around long enough as an assistant, and I know that the record will then take care of itself, and you'll do all right. In high school sports, I really do think that.
Mainland opens up the season on a Tuesday, December 16th at home against the Oakcrest Falcons. Good old Cape Atlantic League showdown to begin the year. Coach Dan Feld with me here on Cal 101. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Good luck this season. Looking forward to watching you guys throw down in Linwood and seeing how this team progresses here in 2025, 2026.
Nick, thanks so much. We really appreciate all the coverage. We recognize how lucky we are to have people like you, to give us this platform and then kind of, put the spotlight on the kids. You guys are the best.
We appreciate that. Cal 101 on Cape Atlantic Live is presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service.